Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay, it's now 12 o'clock, so the chair may start the
Okay, that'll
meeting.
work.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order. This time we'll begin with item number 3, public comment. Were there any written comments submitted?
No, sir.
Is there anyone to provide verbal comments? Okay. Then we will close public comment and move to item number 4, the workshop. Which point I'll turn it over to Stacy.
So, good afternoon, good to see everyone. Nicole and I will be running through this agenda item. So over the last couple of months, we have kind of walked you through actions that we've been taking to support animal services. And one of the items that we had updated you on last was the use of some temporary kennel technicians. And so that additional temporary staff was authorized through September. We are working through ongoing recruitment coordination with our temp agency. However, we are experiencing some difficulties in identifying qualified applicants. We currently have 3 temporary staff on hand and are working with them to fill the additional vacancies. We updated you last on the Fort Bend County intern program as well. That program, like we had indicated, it was a brief internship. And so that program did end in early August, but we actually had quite a few volunteers going through and assisting us during that time through that program, not only in animal services, but also in other departments of the city. An update on our vacancies within the division. So we do still have an animal services officer position that is vacant. It's vacant due to an internal promotion of the incumbent in that position to another position in the services division. That position had been advertised. It has since been re-advertised after initial review of the applications. And then candidates have been identified for that second round of position advertisement. So interviews are currently being scheduled. We also have a part-time kennel technician position vacant. That position has been filled effective this coming Monday, September 13th. So that is very exciting. And then our animal services manager position, you will notice we have a new face in the group. We're excited. Our animal services manager position was filled effective August 30th. And he was actually appointed to the Animal Advisory Board last night at council and just took his oath of office a few minutes ago. So he is good to go as part of the board. We're super excited. And so I'm going to let Nicole kind of give you a brief introduction of our Animal Services Manager, Mr. Don Speck.
Thank you, everyone. So Don has been working in the animal welfare industry since 2005. When he joined the Banfield Pet Hospital as the hospital manager and a vet tech. In 2014, he joined Houston Vet Tech Institute of Texas as an animal welfare coordinator. And in 2019, he became the director at the Houston SPCA, where he managed over 35 staff and over 500 animals in both the hospital and the adoption center. So while there, he worked side by side with the chief medical director, the chief cruelty investigator, and the wildlife center of Texas. So he has a bachelor's degree in veterinary technology and practice management at the University of Charleston, and he's a licensed vet tech. We are super excited to have him join us. Any other words you would like to say?
Sure, I am super excited to be here. I've had nothing but warm welcomes from staff and others here. Super excited by a lot of the things that you level of care and caring that I see, especially from the volunteers and the staff. That gives me a great case to start. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Sure.
Oh, I'm so much better. I'm so much happier. It's a lot cheaper.
And we also wanted to thank you for your participation in the interview process. I know several of you dedicated quite a bit of time. This is kind of part one of the interview process. With Dr. Cox on part two. Sorry. So we want to thank you for that. It was a very intense interview process. We want to make sure we found the right candidate. That really is the update that we have on staffing. Do you have any questions based on this information? Yes.
I'm gonna echo what Ron said in terms of the staff being caring. And just, it's been a rough 6 months, and I just want to go to say, everyone is doing and doing and doing. I mean, Nicole must clone herself a million times because she's here on the weekend, she's fostering cats, she's here on holidays, she's doing, you know, the job over there, she's doing whatever she's supposed to be doing over here, but she's really right there. She must have frequent flyer point at Tractor Supply. But all that to say, we're still kind of, so, I mean, she's just her. I mean, and I know the other staff, our regular staff are also fostering kittens and not getting a lot of sleep. And we are still at extreme capacity over there. So my big question is, especially having just heard that we're having a hard time finding qualified temp applicants, what is our goal to deal with this like imminently? I'm just giving you an example, and I'm giving this so that hopefully this will help. Maybe if you guys have to apply for funding to get more people, that this will be a real time example that you can share with people that make those decisions. But I was at the shelter on Thursday cleaning cats, and I had a partner, and she had to leave at 11. And so I was there till about 12:30, and I had my walkie-talkie, and I went over to Parksburg and couldn't get in because the door was locked because the shelter is closed between 12 and 1, but there's no sign on the door. And so I knew I could go around the back to get in, and I actually ran into a dog walker, and she was there. And so she actually let me in. So I put in my walkie-talkie, and I signed out, walked out the front door, and then there was a citizen out front, a woman with her young children who had a stray dog that she was trying to come in. And I'm like, hold on, let me go back inside. So this time I had to walk all the way around the back to get in because the dog walker wasn't there to let me in. And I'm like, okay, let me find someone. Because usually when I leave, there's someone somewhere. There was no one in the entire building. I mean, there was not a single staff person to be found. No one had told me and Cass or had told the dog walker that we were going to be left alone. If something would have happened, especially to the dog walker with the dogs, that's kind of a big deal. So not only is this lack of staffing impacting the quality of care that the animals are receiving and when they're being fed and how long they're sitting in their own filth, which I can talk about too. And again, I'm not casting any judgment. I'm just saying we are short-staffed and overpopulated. But to me, that was just like an extreme thing where nobody checked on us. No one said we're leaving, or if we need something. We were there 2 volunteers by ourselves, and if something would happen, we had, you know, not to mention it looked bad. I did tell the lady, I think they opened back at 1, that their staff is gone, or the shelter's closed from 12 to 1, and could she wait? And she did. She went back in her car with her kids and waited. I don't know if someone came at 1, but at the very least, we should have a sign on the door. And if everybody is going to leave, there needs to be one person that's going to check in with the volunteers and say, we all have a meeting, or we're going, if we're taking a lunch break, or whatever is happening, and not leaving us totally alone. So I'm just putting that out there to let you know that happened. And I think if you maybe had more staff, you can stagger the lunchtime, or have someone there who's going to cover, doing 20-minute shifts or half-an-hour shifts. But aside from that instance, my question is, how are you guys gonna try and get more people on board, especially since we're still, I don't know what the volunteer situation is, with the new system being online, we can expect more volunteers, but I mean, it's, Nicole was there, I was there the other day, she was there, she was feeding cats, so critical cats in ISO, you know, at 11 o'clock. And it's not because she was doing anything bad or wrong, it's just that many animals, when I'm there on Mondays by myself doing cats, I'm there for 6 hours. A 2-hour shift is coming to a 6-hour shift for one person, because there's so many animals. And even though, you know, the dogs at least can get pet out, because, you know, it's bold, and even if they have a different combination, but the cats, there's so many little kittens, and they're so active in such a small contained kennel that it's filthy. And so one, having enough bowls to, if you would try and feed out, it's filthy in the kennels, and then it's nobody's fault, it just is. And we need more bodies. And so my question is, how are you guys going to try and work around your challenge of not finding applicants through the temp agency, but trying to fix this early? I mean, because the staff is the one that's suffering too. I mean, they're burnt out, they're tired. I mean, you know, you can't just continue. And then in Cat Adopt, everybody that's in Cat Adopt right now that's feeding and cleaning animals is volunteers. We've got a group of 5 of us, and one of those 5, she comes in 3 days a week and is keeping Cat Adopt going, and is doing cleaning and feeding Monday through Sunday. And if you didn't have us, or if one of us got sick, and I'm not saying that again to make us superheroes or anything like that, I'm just saying there's a critical need still, and we're, you know, because of over extreme population, I don't know, I mean, whatever the word is, being crowded.
And I can try, no, I'm not going to piggyback a little on the dog situation. It used to seem like there was somebody that was more in charge of dogs or focused more on dogs. And I know they all get cleaned in the morning, but from the afternoons and see what I see. And there's one room that I walk into every time to take dogs out to walk, and the floor is like a lake. And schnauzers and the poor Australian Shepherd, whenever I get him out to walk, his whole underside is wet. And it's not that it's just bad for the dogs. We let the public go in there. I mean, that's a slip hazard for volunteers, staff, public, anywhere. And lots of dogs in the afternoon, the floor is wet, and some dogs peel out more than others. Less scary.
We do have some that like to knock over their water.
Yeah. So, and I even said to Don the other day, because I was trying to find somebody to do stuff, and I apologize that sometimes I come off a little, you know, from old jobs when I was a manager or whatever, you know, and I told Don the other day, I said, sorry, I'm one of the bossy volunteers. Yeah. But I don't like to see the dogs like this. I don't like the public to come in and see a puddle that's that big, or, and
So I will say, it is a challenge whenever we have as many animals as we have right now.
right,
You know, and that's
there's
something,
none of us now.
and that's something that we are working towards, figuring out, you know, a very efficient way of, you know, making sure that all of the animals are cared for. It is admitted to be a challenge right now, because we have so many animals. So it is something that we'll work on, we will discuss with staff, we will look at our options. Staffing is something that we are looking at. We're always looking at our staffing levels. I have reached back out to the temp agency to ask for the anybody that they think might be viable options. But you know, we understand.
We will be, we will also be working with our human resources department. They work with us on temp agencies and things like that. To see if there's any additional temp agencies out there that we can work with who may be a little more successful in finding people for these types of positions than our current one is. Right now, I think finding finding people across the board is a little more challenging. So I think it's a challenge that we're not just facing. It's industry, I mean, it's not just animal industry, it's industry everywhere. With everything with COVID and all of the different situations going on. So we will very much be looking at other options as well to see if there's other agencies that could assist us.
But the care of the animals is,
I know, and
It's always a
observe-
top priority.
One of the things I can say is, one, thank you, because I see y'all there every day, and I appreciate it. It's only been 5 days. And but one thing that we also want to work on, back that road project, basically. How we manage that workload. How we approach. Try to find a way to increase. And also possibly transfer. Some other options. And the rest of it is where have one candidates. So we're working on all fronts to look at it. Best thing I can say is stick with this is going to get better. Promise that's one of my big goals. A lot faster. I can bring more people on.
Okay, and regarding to like outsourcing your animals, I mean, I know a lot of the northern states are always looking for animals. How do we just, I mean, do they pay for transportation? Or do we pay for
We pay for transportation. Sometimes they'll come
Will they
in.
drive to get funds to do that?
There's money out there. There's grants out there that we can look at that are available for specific things like this. We can also pay other entities that that's all the transports. Also just shelters. Requirement is for our animals. Part of the process. Independently, established before we go, so great job. We just go. Unfortunately, COVID, a lot of that shrank for pretty much everyone. Transports people that were fostering. Because in order for an animal to be transported, especially up north, Wisconsin, Michigan, Seattle, especially, they have to find a person in that city who will foster that animal. It's not a matter of getting them there. They show up to a building in their house somewhere else. They have to find one of us to say yes to that one specific animal. So it's also about marketing. We try to market these guys and then videos, pictures, things like that. So we can get someone to say yes, and all of that. Even if you here, there's 2 or 3 that can add up to. 2 or 3 for the homework.
And the
Well, I
shelter
know-
supervisor has submitted multiple to agencies. She's working very hard to try and get. Some of those organizations, from what I understand, have run into some outbreak issues.
Yes.
So a lot of those that focus on, transport efforts. So we do have a large number of animals that have been submitted to one rescue or transport agency or another. We're just waiting for final approval, acceptance of those animals.
Well, I know there may be more questions on kind of that side of it. I do want to kind of remind us on the item on the agenda that's focused more on the staffing. So
I practiced at home, so Meredith wouldn't get that same. So in terms of the current staffing and the overcrowding related to that, are we gonna open back up on Thursday evenings or on Saturday mornings? Because I think if we have the staff to do that, then the animal turnaround would be more because we're more people going back to work and people going back to school. Then then now that we're just 8 to 5, we don't have that Thursday evening opening, we're not open on Saturdays, but that is cutting off some of our options for our animals. And if we had more staff, then we could maybe be open, like we were before.
That is something that Nicole and I have conversations about that routinely, trying to, because you're right, and that, you know, people are going back to where we are looking to see how we can maybe open back up on Saturdays. But again, we are working through that process. I don't have a definite date for you yet. We are looking at the staffing options and how we can do that. Because we need to make sure we have the ability to do that and do it well. So we're absolutely looking at it.
Given the limitations of the amount of people available to work right now, do we have the funds in the budget to pay what we need to pay to get staffed up?
We like you've seen throughout this entire process, I mean, we are filling our positions. The only one that we are having challenges more with is the temporary help, but our other positions are being filled. I mean, I don't know across the organization, we're seeing, I mean, there are some positions that are a little harder sometimes, but we haven't seen that challenge in animal services.
Thank you. Do we have many more cats than we normally have for, these other years? This year we have, do we know how many more we have? Is it 20% more? Is it, I mean, is there? I'd have to go back. And I'd like to offer, there's pictures that I can put out to that network of people who are donating things. If there's, if I can help with any kind of grant money or anything like that, if somebody thinks that could be of any use, I'm willing to volunteer in those ways. And I know somebody who did pictures and puts pictures of cats out on Facebook for the Houston SPCA. And she and I have talked about maybe doing that same kind of thing for some of the animals here. There's a group of people on Facebook that would share and forward those pictures.
That's all I have.
Okay, is there any further questions, discussion? Complaining, moaning, whining? Okay. Then do I have a motion for us to adjourn? Second. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Your turn.